Hello, I'm EnterElysium, and welcome back to From the Depths. It's time again! It's time for From the Depths and a new campaign. A new hope, one might say. So, we're going to be diving in and we're starting a new campaign. The reason we're going to do this is because 1.88 introduced a lot of new stuff, and, you know, in addition, we've got the new cannons from previous versions. Particularly in 1.88, one of the big changes is that you now have the option to have, at least, localized resources. Like, previously, you had this big cloud in the sky, and if you wanted to get resources, you could pull them down from the cloud in the sky wherever, and if you got resources mined, you chuck them up into the cloud in the sky wherever, and it didn't matter where resources were, they were all held in this big cloud. Now you can do localized resources, which means that if you mine resources in one place, you need to then transport them to another place to use them. If your ship wants to be able to use its fuel, it has to have the fuel on board. It can't just pull the fuel down from in the sky or whatever, or the oil, and then process it. It would have to actually have it on board, which means you need, like, tanker ships and stuff, and things like that. So there is a decent amount of new stuff that really you have to take into account, especially with the fact that there are new engines. As well, which means basically we have to design all of our craft that we did in the previous campaign again. So I think it's worth starting a new campaign, especially since I find that the beginning of a campaign is often the more interesting part for me, at least. So we're going to dive in. New campaign. Quest Finita. Now there is an Onyx Watch campaign, which is a little bit smaller. It's basically the Onyx Watch, and you have to fight them as part of the Deepwater Guard. We're going to just play the Quest Finita just because it is a bigger map with more options about who you fight. Difficulty modifier, that changes the damage. I don't want to do more damage or the enemy do more damage. I don't like that. I don't like them statistically. I really hate, as a difficulty thing, to have, oh, you do more or less damage. No, it just feels cheap to me. Enemy growth factor, however. The rate at which enemy forces grow, high numbers in lots of fleets, and fast fluctuation of many lands. You will up that. We'll up that to about 1.15, because this does actually have a fairly big impact. I don't want to put it too high. Resources given by destroying enemies. I will put that down a little bit. Not much, because often resources are something you just need. I don't find it interesting to have that, like, too low, because, frankly, resources are... They just cap you, and you're like, oh, well, I'm going to sit around while I do nothing until I get resources. Honestly, it's not that interesting. Enemy design difficulty. Regular designs, easy designs, godly designs. I'm going to put this up to 1.75. So we'll be fighting the hard designs. We're getting experience multiplier 177%. Yeah! So we're badass. And we've got localized resources as well. If we put centralized on, it halves it. So we're going to go localized and do the Quest Finita. Okay, begin new campaign. Take us in! Whee! Boink. Hello and welcome to our starting location. It's changed a bit since the old version, hasn't it? So this is our new starting fortress. As you can see, we have a cannon, which also has like a little missile launcher on it. Hello. We have our rotating radar dish. A little, I was about to say dry dock. It's actually wet, but you get the idea. With a cranny type thing that can, you know, swivel around and drop people in it. Got a sort of little dock here of rubber. In here, I think, is our fuel supply. Yeah, we've got loads of fuel in here. In here, we have a little Diddy engine. It's actually pretty crappy. Over here, we've got a refinery, which is... This is like... You know, it used to be like 2-block high. Oh, you turn oil into fuel with a 2-block high thing, and that's all you do. Now you actually have to have like a refinery. So, like, desalter, refinery bit, something else, catalytic cracker, and these are flare stacks. It's really kind of a lot of changes. What else is there? Oh yeah, down here we have our resource collectors. There aren't many of them. So we're going to get straight to work. I am actually fairly afraid that we're going to get attacked pretty soon. So straight to work, and what we'll do is we'll increase our resource collectors. I won't increase them to crazy high levels, but I do want to have a few more than 3. I think probably 16 is a fair number. So I would like to put down a mirror line. And then I would like to start chopping. Oops. Let's do that in a second. Whoopsie daisy. Balls. Okay, can I... There we go. And then there. And then gap. And then I need to replace this one here as well. Right, okay, take the mirror line off. Now, I'm not going to put on 16 oil things. I'm just going to put on 8 for the moment. I will put on 16 of the resource gatherers, though, because I don't think I need that much oil straight away. I'm not sure. I haven't played around too much with the new patch and the resources in campaign. So I don't know how much oil I'm going to need to be able to produce all my fuel to power my ships, but that should do for the resource collectors for now. Right, so now that's in place. What are you? Oh, you're crude oil. Oh, because this is crude oil. 3010, 320, 330. Okay, right, so that's crude oil. Now, I think one of the first things we want to touch is probably the engine, since the engine is actually now, like, look at it, it's got no power left. And it is going full whack. Yeah. That is because, of course, we've just added a load of things that need power. So I'm going to remove this. This is actually an exhaust, but it's actually placed wrongly. It's actually placed for show. It's meant to be hooked up to the refinery here. Like, look, we're refining oil. And it's attached to the engine to make it look fancy. It doesn't do anything. These are exhausts. They aren't actually meant to be like this. It's just make it look pretty, as far as I'm aware. So I'm going to doop. And you know what? We're probably just going to rebuild the entire engine. So probably give me a good chance to talk about the new engine mechanics. Aha! See? Not just a pretty face. What I'll do is I'll take off the roof as well, because I'm probably going to need this room. Are you the center? I think you're the center. Now, I could just, like, let the center fall. But I don't want to do that, because then I'll have to deal with the debris, which is incredibly annoying. I really get frustrated by the debris in this game sometimes, because it just falls in, like, where you're trying to work, and you can't get rid of it, and... ugh. Alright, let's get rid of this. And then you're having to grenade it, and then you grenade yourself, and you die, and it's really awkward. Okay, right, so... this is a new fancy engine. It doesn't seem to be much different, apart from maybe these exhausts on the side. So what we're going to do is just delete most of this. And we'll have to get to work pretty sharpish. So, let us put in a wood block, 2 wood blocks, no. 2 wood blocks, there we go. And then we want a fuel engine. I like the fact it says fuel engine rather than just engine. I won't get confused anymore. Let's put a crankshaft in. And we'll go to about here with the crankshaft. Probably doesn't need to be that much. Maybe just here. And then when you put cylinders on. We've still got adapters. But I'm going to just pass on them for now. I'm just going to put cylinders on. So cylinder, cylinder, cylinder. Oh, one more. Why not? Cylinder. Cylinder, cylinder, cylinder. So you can place them upside down now. Cylinder, 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 cylinder. And then one on the end. And you can see we are 10 power output for each cylinder currently. And the temperature is currently shooting upwards. So then you can attach either injectors, which are not efficient but produce a lot of power, or we can attach carburetors. Carburetors are really efficient. So I'm going to have an efficient system here because, well, to be honest, it's going to be here for a while. It has a lot of fuel. It's always going to be on. Might as well use efficient carburetors. So I would like to put carburetors on here, like so. Make it fair. Yeah, there we go. And up. And then underneath as well. Right, how much are we on right now? Max power output 0. Okay, so we've overloaded on the power again. You see the temperature, basically it overheated and the temperature is now dropping. Got up to 1,500 degrees it looks like. Ouch. Alright, let's put the remainder on here. So yeah, engines can overheat now. And keep it consistent, we'll put one on there. Right. So then, we can put on either turbochargers or superchargers. Turbochargers increase efficiency at high RPM. Superchargers increase efficiency at low RPM. Most of the time we'll be running this at low RPM, so I will be using superchargers rather than turbochargers. So let's chuck these in. And then along here. And on the top here. And I might be wondering why I'm leaving the top of the carburetor, the top of the cylinders empty, whereas I could put a second carburetor there. There is a very good reason for that, my friends. Do not worry. There is method to my madness. There is also a lot of madness to my method, particularly when I run out of resources. As tends to happen. Yeah, temperature's dropping because it overheated. Oh, do. Once it gets back to our operating temperature, we'll see it start working. Come on, then. I could just delete it and replace it. But that'd be like cheating. Did I miss one over here? Yeah, I missed a couple over here because I ran out of resources. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. Alright, well, what we should do, while we're waiting to get the resources back, is we should start on our crystal farm, which means deleting a few things because we need crystals. Right now, I've only got 15. We want more so that we can grow things. So I want to delete that because that now it gets us up to 45 crystal. I also want to delete that, 105 crystal. Spawner. Yeah, I'll delete these for the moment. Those don't have any in? I assume that does. Yeah, 135. Right. So let's get ourselves a crystal farm going. We'll put it on this side. So I would like processed resources. I think it's processed resources. Crystal growth farm, crystal growth farm. Give me a second. 1, 2, 3. Then back to process resources, crystal growth farm. Place that like there. And I didn't mean to do that. Process resources, crystal growth farm. Right, let's try this again. Okay, what if we spin it? Yeah, okay. And then we can put growth trays on board. How much do you carry? 100. But we have more, so I'm going to get this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. How much do you cost? Scrap and metal, mostly. Actually, we're fine, so yeah. That should be able to carry 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 300. Excellent. We're already growing them pretty fast. You can see down there our crystal is now ticking upwards. So, back... Oh god, did I... Yeah, I've duplicated that because I had the mirror line down. Oh well, these things happen. Well, I'll solve that later. Right. How are we doing over here now? Temperature... almost 700 degrees, so you can solve this a couple of ways. You can use something like the large radiator. So if we have a quick look at the fuel engine design, flip forward to the radiator. It's like the end of the line for radiator, I think. Turbocharger, radiator component. Radiators connect to cylinders or the crankshaft and help reduce heat at a small cost in fuel efficiency. So, oh. Did we go out of build mode by doing that? Yeah, we did. Oh, that's annoying. Well, since we only just got back into build mode, we might as well delete this over here. And then mirror line. So we could do that to decrease the temperature. Where are we at the moment? 700 degrees. It's dropping a little bit. Or we could use something like an exhaust. Cools down cylinders. So actually, I would like to use a straight pipe. And then same on these. And we'll do the same underneath as well. Now, what that is doing is it is taking all of the gases away and reducing the temperature. So we should see... Yeah, look at that. Temperature has now dropped below 100. And I think it's more efficient the lower it runs in terms of temperature, especially considering the RPM on the engine. You can see the engine's actually not using quite a lot of its power, which it means it's running at low RPM, which is, again, more efficient because we're using superchargers rather than turbochargers. Now, you can also connect all these together to have, like, one big smokestacky type thing, which I think we'll do. Not because it's particularly great. There is a use to it, actually. There is actually a use to doing that. It's because if you want, like, to avoid heat-seeking missiles and stuff, they'll target the exhaust. So you can move the exhaust away from stuff. So I'm going to use a corner pipe. I am going to assume that corner pipe connects like that, maybe? Yes, it does. And then straight pipe. Then throughput pipe. Well, let's just do the throughput pipes while we're on it. You'll be a curvy pipe. Come here, curvy pipe. Ah, that was rather quick. There we go, and do the one below. I should have really raised it another meter to avoid having to do this, but what the hell. So straight pipe, throughput pipe, straight pipe, and if I'm really honest, we should go the other way because oh, we've got a... Oh, well, it's fine. We'll leave it like it is for the moment. So we need to connect all these. Now, the annoying thing is there isn't a cross-section pipe. So we should use a throughput pipe here. Throughput pipe here, which I can't place because there's nothing to connect it to. So curve upwards. Straight pipe. Throughput pipe. And then we can connect this into that throughput pipe. So I would like to use a corner pipe. There we go. And then turn the mirror line off. And you see 13 exhaust gases leaving here. And now it's got no exhaust gases leaving. Whoopsie. Yeah, it should be something like... exhaust. There we go. And you see we've got little plume of smoke coming up there. And if we check the temperature, 57 degrees. Nice and efficient. If we check any of the cylinders, we can see that the... There we go. If we're running at 10%, we're using less than 0.1 fuel. And we're currently running at about... We're using 1,000 power. We've got about 7,000. So running a little bit higher than that. If we run at, say, 50%, we're using 0.1 fuel burn per second. So it's basically, we're getting 5 times the amount of power, but we're using 10 times the amount of fuel. And if we went to maximum power output of 400 with 4 fuel burn per second. So that'd be doubling it again, but we'd, again, double the amount of fuel we're using. So we're fairly efficient right now. I'm actually fairly happy with this engine. Next, I think what we've got to do is we've got to renovate our fuel store, because I don't like the idea of the fuel store being up in the air. It makes it easy to hit, especially directly below our gun. Also, I'd like to improve our gun. Right now, I don't really want to use a custom cannon. I want to use a advanced cannon. Maybe put some torpedoes on. Also, move this, because right now this just isn't really... I mean, visually it's nice, but it's also using a lot of resources. So we're going to end the episode here. Next episode, we're going to get a dash on with sorting this. I don't know which we're going to sort first. Probably just delete this, make the gun, and then rebuild this, because I'll need the resources. I think I also want to put the gun on top of here. But I think we need the gun ASAP, because the enemy will be attacking us soon, a lot faster than they did in the last series, because we now have their, like, what's it called? Their resource gathering rate, their building rate, their fortification rate much faster. So we're going to get a move on with that. But anyway, I've been EnterElysium. If you enjoyed, please like, not subscribe, please consider subscribing, especially considering it is a new series. And to see, you know, how much you want from the to continue on the channel, how interesting you find it, etc., etc., etc. That would all be much appreciated. But anyway, until next time. Like, why can't I jump? Stay shiny!